We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
What's up? It's Welcome to Weird Wednesday. That was the old original intro from way back in the day. How's it going, Jamie?
I'm going good, but more importantly, how's it going for you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's been a wild Mr. Toad's wild ride for the last couple of weeks for sure.
Starting with a helicopter ride.
Yeah.
You gotta go in a whirly bird.
Get to the chopper. Yep. Yeah, they shot me from the ER, which is not too far from here. It's like 5 minutes from here. So Darcy got me there, and that they got me like right in. It's a brand new ER. It's Baptist Medical Center.
Oh, is that the one you're waiting for?
Yeah, it's only been open for I don't know, maybe 6 months or something. And but yeah, man, they were Johnny on the spot. I went in there, and it was like within 10 minutes I had already had an EKG, and the doctor came in and he's like, "Yep, you're having a heart attack right now." And I was like, "Really?" And Darcy's like, "How do you know?" And he's like, he just looks at her and he's like, "Because I'm paid to know." And he holds up the EKG, the sheet, and he's like, "See right here? This means you're having a heart attack right now."
And you were like talking and like, or what were you doing?
Yeah.
Were you out of it?
No, I was just, it's like, it wasn't like the typical.
You didn't hit the ground and like start shaking the leg thing?
No, it was, I swear I thought I had a really bad case of heartburn.
So how did she know to take you? Like what happened?
I just came home, and I've been experiencing this for the last couple of weeks, just on and off. And I got up that morning, it's a Friday, and I picked Sam and Nora up, and we ran and did our errands and stuff. And then I took her to an indoor playground because, it was kind of warm that morning and I wasn't feeling the best. And the place is indoors, so it's air conditioned and all. And it's like $15 for a couple of hours. And it's pretty cool. And you can go in and play, with the kids. And it's like 2 stories and they can climb and do all kinds of crap. And then there's an area that like, parents or whatever can just sit and chill. It's like a little cafe. So I was sitting over there, and I'm thinking, yeah, I feel like crap. And I had that kind of heartburn feeling. So I was just taking it easy.
And you said you had that feeling right after the show on Wednesday night too, right?
Yep. Yeah. That last Wednesday, I was feeling like shit, and I ate one of those gummies that I found, and I'm thinking, damn, these things must be bad because they're giving me a hell of a heartburn. So who knows? how many heart attacks I actually had, if that was a heart attack. But yeah, he said it was definitely having a heart attack, and I was like, damn. Well, I've never had one before that I know of, but
Oh,
this wouldn't go by normal description. And
and
I was like,
only you'd be still standing and shit while you're in the middle of one and like having a discussion.
yep, yeah, I'm on the helicopter, getting loaded on the helicopter, and like when the guy that's you see in one of those pictures that's like, pulling me out to the helicopter.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I'd made surfboards for years, and he came by. He works in the ER there, and he came by to see me, and
Oh,
ended up carting me out there, and it was cool to, because I was like, holy shit, I'm having a heart attack. I was a little bit stressed, I mean, but it was cool to just have somebody relate on a normal human level that I could relate to, and we're talking about. He's like, dude, you've airbrushed and made every surfboard I've ever had my entire life, and blah blah blah. And it was just nice to give him up
it kind of probably helped you like calm down. It helped you in that moment.
big time. Yeah,
Like that was like not a coincidence, I bet,
yeah.
that he came by.
But yeah, I was snapping pictures the whole time. I got on the helicopter and I was taking pictures in there until the guy reached over my head and took my phone. And it was really loud in there, so I didn't have earphones or anything on, so I couldn't hear anything except for the helicopter. And so I was like, oh, whatever, and I'm just looking out the
Oh, because
window.
your phone messes with the
Yeah, I didn't know that,
like
until we landed.
airplane mode.
Yeah, he gave me my phone back, and he's like, "Oh, my bad. I should have told you. You can't have your phone on in the helicopter. It's
Yeah, I
against
didn't
FAA
think.
rules." I was like, "Yeah, first time I've been in a helicopter in like 40 years, so yeah, sorry." But yeah, I was snapping pictures the whole time. I got there. They had to send me from the ER to Baptist South, and then they thought, I might need like a stent or two or something. And I got to Baptist South, and they started working on me, and they're like, "Oh no, you're way past the stent level. You need a full-on bypass surgery."
Oh my god.
So then they were gonna throw me back in the helicopter and take me to Baptist Medical, which is in downtown Jacksonville. And then there was like this major thunderstorm that just happened to move in right then. So I ended up having to take that trip in an ambulance. And she was like, the girl that was, I don't know, paramedic or whatever, she's like, it's going to be a bumpy ride, so hold on. I was like, oh, hell, the helicopter was kind of bumpy too, but I ain't got nothing better to do than hold on, so yeah, they got me.
Like literally and figuratively.
Yeah. The ambulance had a lot more room than the helicopter. I was pretty jammed in the helicopter. If you've seen that
Yeah, it
picture,
was pretty cramped in there. Like they
yeah, my,
just shoved the whole thing in there, and that must have
yeah,
felt scary. Like no control. Like your feet are like hanging out. Like if they tip, I'm gonna roll out this.
I was strapped in. I was kind of holding on. And the guy was like, "Yeah, don't worry, you're strapped in. You ain't going nowhere." And at that point, I'm having a heart attack, and I'm like, "Yeah, being scared's the least of my worries right here." So I was just enjoying the ride, looking out, the glass door, and looking down at everything. And we went over I-95, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, I'm glad I'm not stuck in all that traffic. So yeah, got to the downtown, the big hospital, and yeah, that's when they came in, and the doctor was like, dude, you need a bypass, and not a 2 or 3, but you got five arteries that are screwed. So I was like,
And they took the veins from your legs. I saw that post the other day.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently they took an artery out of my chest somewhere, and then they took the rest of them out of my leg.
Oh my gosh. Does that hurt?
No, it's just a little incision. There was 2 on my leg. One of them's like on my shin area, and the other one's like up on my like inner calf or not or my inner thigh. And it's they're healing up fine. But yeah, it was what sucked was laying on my back. I'm not a back sleeper, and they put a balloon pump in me that went in my groin all the way up to my heart.
No. Oh.
And so my leg is in an immobilizer because I got this tube in my groin all the way up to my heart. So I got to lay on my back. I can't move. And I swear, man, they were giving me drugs. The first few days weren't terrible, and they were like thinking about operating on me like Saturday morning, and Sunday was Easter. And then they blew it off because I'd kind of stabilized out, and I blew it off till Monday morning to do the surgery.
Wondering why it was like so long.
So yeah, I had to just lay there all weekend, couldn't move, and that pretty much sucked. I was on drugs. I was on pretty good drugs, so it wasn't terrible. And then they did the surgery.
Except you said your back was on fire from like having to sit like that.
Yeah, that really, like, I had the surgery, and that's just mind blowing. I like when my brother had a heart attack, I looked it up on YouTube and I watched it, and I was just like, holy crap, man. And Darcy was freaking out because she said they texted her like right when I went on bypass.
Oh my God.
It was like an hour and a half before they texted her again and said he just came off of bypass. So for an hour and a half, my heart wasn't beating at all. I was just being kept alive by machines.
Holy
while they were like operating on my heart. So it's pretty freaking amazing what they can do. And I'm like out like a light. So I mean, I didn't, they could have cut my head off and I wouldn't have known. But luckily they didn't.
I think it was an hour after you got out of bypass, Darcy gave me the update, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it was quite an adventure,
I knew you were going to be okay. Like, I didn't even know you were as okay as you actually were. Like, my mind, like, I only, knew parts. I thought you must have hit the ground or something and were, like, out. Then I thought, I guess you woke up on the stretcher, started snapping pictures and stuff. Like, this is not what I thought. But I'm like, okay, this is Rob. He's going to heal fast, and he's going to come out of this. Like, I was still scared, but I knew you were going to be okay.
Yeah. I wasn't sure at a few points, especially when I came out of surgery, like I guess Darcy, like right before I went in for surgery, she was like, promise me you're going to come out of this. And I was like, I'm going to try. I wouldn't promise her. She got mad because I wouldn't promise her. I was like, I'm going to try my best.
Because you don't want to break a promise.
Yeah. But
just in case.
Yeah, it was I didn't have that planned for Friday morning. That's for sure. But yeah, got out of surgery. Yeah. If it wasn't for her, I'd be dead because I would have just.
She's an earth angel. Like, thank God.
Said, I got heartburn. I would have taken some Tums. I would have went in my bedroom and laid down, and I'd have probably died.
Yeah, you're stubborn ass. You probably would go another couple months, honestly. Keep having like these heart attacks. You're like an earthquake with these aftershocks. I'm telling you, we're cockroaches, Rob.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, a heart.
Yeah.
I am so glad she did what she did and just said screw it and listened to her instincts.
Yeah, my doctor, after the surgery and all, I remember like when they wake you up from all the anesthesia and everything, and after everything's over, they wake you up and you still have all those breathing tubes and everything down your throat.
Oh God.
So that's like where people usually freak out
Yeah,
because,
because you weren't like that when you went to bed.
yeah. And I remember him waking me up, and this anesthesiast guy was standing there, and he's like, "Are you okay? We're gonna pull the breathing tube out." And I was just like, "Yeah, bro." And he's like, "Dude, you are the chillest person I have ever seen in here. You got all this shit down your throat, and you're laying there smiling at me, giving me the thumbs up."
That is so you, and that is why you kick ass, and that is why you're able to come out of these things, because you are calm. Even when you're like raging pissed, you still have like this strange calmness that you get.
Yeah, it sucked when they pulled those tubes out, though, because,
Unless the switch flips.
yeah, when the switch flips, man, look out. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But, yeah, I'm trying to not let Mr. Hyde out because I don't need my heart rate going up.
So did they give you the Michael? Because I forgot to even tell you about that ahead of time. How my dad got the Michael Jackson drug. Jeff got the Michael Jackson drug when he had his nose done. Like he didn't even remember sending me the pictures of the no, the whole thing. Like, and he went home. Like he was a functioning person, and my mom said my dad the same thing. Like he went in, wanted pizza, went into Little Caesars, got the pizza, was talking to people. This next day, no recollection of any of that happening.
Wow.
So I was gonna be like, if they give you the and I knew she'd be by your side anyway, but if they give you the Michael Jackson drug, like, and my mom had said that Rob's not going to remember what the doctors tell him for aftercare, this or that. And I said, yeah, but just in case, I'm sure Darcy, will be there to get the information. But I was going to warn you about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember most of it, the first couple of days out of it, when I was back in ICU. Yeah, I was on morphine and oxy and I was drugged up pretty good. So, I was just kind of chilling, not moving a whole lot. And I still, I woke up and I still had that freaking balloon pump in me. And I was hoping they would take it out. They said they were going to take it out during the surgery, but something didn't line up right and they had to leave it in. So I wake up from the surgery and I still got that damn thing in me, still got my leg in an immobilizer, still couldn't move, and so they started weaning me off the morphine and the oxy and all that, and then it was then that I realized how bad the bed that I was laying in really was. Me and that bed, dude, we had a very hateful relationship. Then my nurse came in, and all the nurses and the CNAs and even down to like housekeeping, they were all freaking amazing. They were awesome. Every one of them. Two of them definitely stood out, but they were awesome. It's a shitty situation when you can't get out of the bed, you can't use the toilet, you got to use a bedpan. It's just humiliating the whole way through. But you just come to a realization that, hey, this is the way it is. This is their job to help me, and you just roll with it. But yeah, they were awesome. But yeah, I remember my nurse coming in, and they got me up like the night, like I had the surgery that morning. They stood me up that night. I was on my feet that night, and they wanted me to keep moving. But man, getting back in that bed, was like, I don't know what day it was because I kind of lost track, but my nurse came in there and he's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "This bed is like Satan's cradle." And he started laughing. He's like, "I've never heard anybody call it that before, but I know they're not very."
Man.
And it was like, I don't know, it was like the next morning or sometime that night, he came in and he was like, "Can I get you anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can get me a gallon of gas and a pack of matches so I can rid the world of this evil son of a bitch I'm laying in." He's cracking up laughing. He's like, "I don't think I can bring you that. And I do have every inkling that you would set it on fire right now."
Oh,
Like,
dear.
dude, I got up, they finally
Like shot
started
him.
letting me, they finally started letting me get up to like use the restroom. Now they came in the next day or two and they pulled that pump out of me, balloon pump. That sucked.
Is that
And
the groin one?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was like, the doctor came in and he pulled it out. And I felt this like go across my leg, which was like a squirt of blood or something.
No.
And he immediately starts putting pressure on my groin.
Oh God.
Like all of his weight. Like he's like, "This is gonna suck, dude, but I gotta do this for like 15 to 20 minutes.
No.
Like, all right, man. I'm just gonna ride this out." And so 20 minutes of this goes by and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna let go." And he lets go and I hear him go, "Oh shit." I'm like, "No, I don't want to hear you say that, man." So he's back on there again, another 20 minutes of like intense, like all his weight on. He's just holding pressure on because I got a hole.
To stop it from like bleeding?
Yeah, because he's like, you could bleed out because it's in an artery. And
oh my gosh, they can't just clamp it off with like a clamp or nothing?
You would think, but no, apparently not. And
that's like what you do for like gunshot victims and stuff. I mean, not the hospital.
Yeah, that part sucked pretty bad. That was not comfortable. But
I was hoping you weren't going to have a groin thing.
The upside of it was I got my leg. I had to lay there for another 6 hours afterwards and not move, but I got my leg out of that immobilizer. So I felt like, after 3-4 days, my leg could like, just felt good to have air on it, and not be strapped in this weighted down devil
that
device.
Would give me claustrophobia. Just knowing I couldn't move one part of my body like that would start mentally freaking me out.
Yeah. So I laid there for 6 hours and, they came back in. They're periodically checking on me and they were like, "All right, it looks good." And they gave me the go ahead to move. So I was able to like bend my legs. I was able to sit up a little bit, and yeah, it felt a lot better just to be able to move a little bit. And yeah, it was like one thing to another, and they're like, "Try to get some rest," and every time I would move, beep, beep, some alarm would go off. They were doing my blood sugar on the hour, every hour, poking the finger. 4 o'clock in the morning. "Hi, Mr. Autry, time for an x-ray." The first time she came in, I had been laying there and twisting and turning and like I couldn't get comfortable. And she comes in and flips the light on and, "Hey, Mr. Autry, I got to take an x-ray." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It just came out. It's like, didn't mean to say it. It just came out. And she kind of like, "Ooh."
point of being poked, prodded, like violated, all these things, I don't blame you.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like every day after that, 4:00 in the morning, here comes the x-ray, every hour, blood sugar test and, meds and blood pressure and got to draw blood because we got to do labs. I had so many labs done. It was
I
insane.
wondered about that. I seen someone comment like every hour having to have blood that, and I thought, oh God, I hope that you don't have to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a trip. Yeah, I was awake when they put the pump in me. I see Lori's thing saying,
Yeah, she was awake.
yeah, I was awake when they put the line in my groin and the thing all the way up into my head.
No.
They gave me, some sort of sedative, because obviously that's going to hurt like hell. But yeah, I was awake. It didn't really hurt, but it felt weird because I could feel this. It felt like a snake inside my body, going all the way up, boop, poking me in the heart. It was just weird feeling. It didn't hurt. It was just this weird feeling, And then I got that pump in me. It's a balloon pump. I'm not really sure how it works, but I'm laying there and like if I moved a certain way, like if I tilted my head, I would hear this oink, oink, oink. I could hear it like pumping my heart and I could feel it and it was freaking me out because I'm like, I don't like to hear this squeaky pumpy thing. And they came in and I asked them, I was like, is it normal to like hear this? And they're like, oh yeah, you're going to hear it. Like, oh, okay. I guess I just got to deal with it. But yeah, those first few days, man, it was kind of trippy. And being paranormally, like once I started coming off the drugs, I was in there, they kept coming in and they're like, you're still awake? And I'm like, dude, I'm a night owl, I can't go to bed at 8:00. There's no way. And so I'd just be laying there watching. Geez, I watched every 80s movie there ever was made, I think. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Breakfast Club, just like all of them.
Was that stuff they had, or like were you watching your phone? I was like wondering.
No, I was watching the TV. They had like regular, like not satellite. They had like regular cable TV, like antenna TV. So you pick up all the old channels, But yeah, I was just laying there one night and I see this weird thing out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Kind of shook it off, thinking I'm tripping on drugs. So then I see it again and it's like running around the perimeters of the room. And it's this big
this is
black,
what I've been waiting for.
It's this big black shadowy thing. And like, yeah, for like 2 nights, I kept not even in the night, even in the daytime, I kept seeing it. But it was more so at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I kept seeing it, and I'm like, this shit isn't going away. Am I really seeing this, or am I just like, is the morphine and the oxy still kind of wearing off? Am I hallucinating? What's going on? And yeah, I kept seeing it and it got more defined and it looked like a big cat or something is what I kept seeing. And I don't know. Sam looked it up. I hadn't told anybody that. And I mentioned it to her. She was over here and she looked it up and found this old thing that said, it was I can't think of the word I'm looking for. like an elemental or whatever. It was this basically the shadow cat was like there to like guard me and keep away evil things.
That makes sense.
Well, I had enough of it one night and I was here. I yelled at it and it left. I didn't see it after that, and shortly after that, the nurse comes in. She's like,
They're like watching you on the camera. Like
they were, there's a window that they set right on the other side so they could see me.
Yeah, your ICU, huh?
Yeah. I was like, how many patients do you have? And she's like, you're the only one. You're it. I am your nurse. And yeah, she came in and she was like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I wasn't talking to you. And I don't know. My neighbor was over today and he was asking me stuff like that. And I told him, and he's like, I think it was a demon or like a kind of like a grim reaper, coming to see if they could swipe you. And luckily you're strong enough that you ran them off. Your faith and everything ran them.
I'm going with the elemental. That makes a hell of a lot more sense.
I don't know. I'm flip-flop between both of them. I didn't like it, whatever
Really?
It was.
Oh, so you just seriously had a bad feeling with it.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't know. It could have been something guarding over me, but I know I yelled at it, told it to get out, and it did.
But usually, like, your gut feeling over things like that is usually, like, right. Like, if you feel, like, not right about something like that, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Not just you being annoyed. Like, I'll yell at like the time I yelled at the shadow people that were watching me, I was yelling at someone on the phone. And around the corner in the hallway, I told you this, the shadows kept coming. And I turned around and I'm like, and what the fuck do you want? And the thing went right behind, like, the wall and everything. But I wasn't scared of it or anything. I was just, like, annoyed because I was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know which, I kind of want to believe it was the guardian,
Yeah.
But I know there was a few times, especially right out of surgery, where I was just like, I was trying to hang on pretty good because I was, between what had just happened to me and all the drugs I was on, I was just like floating around in no man's land for a little bit. But it was cool, right? I think I sent you a picture or a video. The helicopter landing pad was literally right outside my window. Like, it was cool because I could watch helicopters coming in and landing, and they're carting people out. I'm like, yeah, I was one of those. But then, when I finally started, a few nights later, when I finally started drifting off to sleep, it's like the whole windows were shaking in the place and everything. Helicopters landing. One night there was like 6 in a row. There must have been a bad wreck or something somewhere. They were just coming in like every 5 minutes. But it was kind of cool. I looked out the window at first and I was like, wow, looks like the USS Enterprise out there because it's this big round.
I know. I was wondering what whole time until you said that. Like,
yeah.
Why does it look like a spaceship outside his window?
Yeah, the dancing bear from the lighthouse. That thing scared the crap out of me. But that's kind of what it looked like. It's different. Couldn't tell if it was a cat or a bear or a dog, but it was something like that on all fours.
Lives at the hospital. I was just thinking, like, a leftover creature from something else, and it happened to into your room.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty weird. And there was a point in my surgery that there was a point there where, I'm like out like a light, but there was a point that I sort of remember where I was like looking down at myself and thinking, damn, dude, you look like a mess. But I was attached to it sounds crazy.
Do you think that's when your heart was off?
It may have been, but I was attached to myself what felt like an umbilical cord or something.
People say that though. I don't think it sounds crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. And
I've
I
never
just
experienced that, but I
started
believe it.
sort of remembering it. And, at the same time, I'm like, am I just a psycho? Am I making this stuff up? But it felt real. When I started thinking about it, I started remembering it. And I remember looking down at myself and all these people around me. And I'm on this shiny metal table. And I just remember looking down at myself and going, damn, dude, you look like a jigsaw puzzle right now with a couple of pieces missing. But it was weird. I felt this weird, it was like an umbilical cord or something that I was attached to.
Consciousness like left for a little bit, but you were still tied to the body.
Yeah. Luckily, I guess it's a good thing. I didn't just float off and, die, whatever. But,
because you were still hanging on to come back.
Yeah.
Whoa, because it was still keeping you like alive, but it wasn't like you. So you were like there.
A long, strange trip it's been. Yeah.
Do you have any dreams now, like strange dreams?
I was having really bad dreams, like the first few days, especially like when I would nod off, and they weren't like, I mean, I had a couple nightmarish dreams, but most of them were stupid shit. Like, like I can't get the lid off of this. I've been trying to unscrew the lid off this, jar of honey for like 2 hours and I can't get it. It was just like this repetitive, like I'm stuck kind of weird dreams like you have when you have a fever or something. And it had to be the drugs, morphine and Oxycontin and all that. And, I was probably in shock too. So, because of everything that they did to me. But yeah, I just kept having these reoccurring, like Groundhog Day type dreams where I just kept repeating things. And yeah, it was driving me insane. Felt like I was going nuts.
You see them bring up this, I forgot the word, the silver cord. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it is, and maybe it was the machine that, was keeping me alive. I don't know. Because
you weren't ready to go yet. And that's why it was still keeping you attached. Because at that time you were still, intending on returning. You weren't ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point where I just accepted it that I might not make it through this,
While you were out or before?
Yeah, even a little before, right before, because like Darcy was wanted me to promise I'd come through, and I wouldn't promise her. I just said, I'm going to try my best or something. I don't know what I said, but I had just like, there was part of me that was like, it's like two different levels. It's like, I don't really care at that point if I was to die, but I didn't want to die because I didn't want to leave her alone and everybody else, But I'm like, I'm going to be fine, but I don't want to croak and just leave everybody else in the
shit. It's the leftover people that have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just had this weird feeling that, I'm going to be fine, but I didn't want to put everybody else, and it's not like I wanted to die, but I just kind of
you're okay with it, you're comfortable with it, and you were like okay with the thought. On Mother's Day, like my NDE, I was like ready to accept it and just go, but then it was like, my mom, no, I can't do like have her first daughter, that she
Yeah,
really wanted to have this happen. Like every mother's like, I can't do this. This
yeah,
cannot happen, not today. And that's what got me out of it
yeah,
was not wanting to leave that behind. But I would have been just fine.
yeah. Yeah, they did give me a pillow, a little heart pillow with Baptist Medical on it. Told me it's kind of
Oh,
cool. They told me this. There's an old lady that makes these pillows, and she just makes them,
I've never heard of that.
and every week she shows up like for years and just donates them. It's not like the hospital buys them. She just makes them, and they said she's been doing it for years.
And what is a cough like you said because it hurts like when you cough. So what is that supposed to be something to hold like to take away like from pain when you're coughing, or why is it a cough pillow?
Yeah, you kind of hold it, over your incision and where they cut my breastbone or
Just
whatever.
clean it.
Yeah, yeah. The first few days, it's like clearing my throat or anything. Like you got to be real, it sucked because they're like bringing me drinks and food and stuff, and I'm laying in bed, and it's hard
Oh,
to like drink, and I was like afraid to like choke and start coughing, so it was kind of a nightmare. But yeah, that's kind of what it's for. And my one nurse told me, yeah, it helps if you got a cough or sneeze or whatever, but it's mainly to keep your hands occupied
kind of
because,
like a stress ball is what I was just thinking, like to hold it in your hand.
well, anytime you go to sit up in bed or to roll over, to do anything, you use your hands and your arms. And when you have this done, you can't push, you can't pull, you can't put your hands up over your head. So you gotta, when you get out of bed, you either have to have help sitting up, or you have to, you know, rock yourself up and use your abdomen muscles,
Oh,
which I got a big ass hernia. So that made it even more special. But yeah, it kind of occupies your hands and keeps you, because it's just natural instinct to grab something and push or hold on to something. And
oh, I see.
she's like, it kind of, it deters it gives your hands something to do besides what they're not supposed to do, which is everything that you've ever been done in your entire life, you can't do now. So it kind of keeps your hands and your arms occupied holding that pillow. But it does help if you cough, because, man, at first I just like cleared my throat and it felt like somebody put an iron on my chest. I was like, damn, did I just get
Oh
branded?
my
What happened?
God.
Burned like hell.
That is like the sweetest thing, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And the fact it has the hospital name and that you did have a good experience there, like your care team seemed pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
they were freaking amazing.
Now, is this
So
when
good.
you're talking about like, you know, needing something and they're like, oh, well, you'll be accepted to the new hospital, but the kick in the pants was it's not built yet. It's going to be like 6 months till it's built. Is that the hospital or is that just a new? Because I didn't
Well,
even think the other one would be built yet.
yeah, no, the one up in downtown Jacks, it's been there for years. And then Baptist South, they just opened that one up like, I don't know, a year or two ago.
Oh, so this isn't the one you're waiting for.
Now, the emergency room that I initially went to, they've just recently opened that one. And they were building another one here, but something happened that got sidelined. But yeah, the ER that I went to, and I went to that one because I have United Insurance, and all of my doctors, I used to go to Flagler Hospital. Like Flagler Hospital is where I was born, and it's in a different location now, but I've always gone to Flagler Hospital, and that's where all my doctors were, in that Flagler thing. And then UF bought out Flagler. So it's UF Health now, University of Florida Health. And something happened with my United Insurance. They got in this big squabble. So I lost all my doctors. I couldn't go to Flagler. Nothing would be covered under my insurance. So luckily, this Baptist South ER was right up the road, and they do take my insurance. So that was a good thing. And like I say, the hospital, I mean, everybody that treated me they were just freaking amazing people. The only downside was the food. It was just,
You can't even call that food. Just
at first it started out, where it was okay. And the first couple of days I was just like on chicken broth or beef broth or Jello. I couldn't have anything solid. And they were one of the doctors came in and he's like, well, and they ask you this like every time. Have you had a bowel movement? And I'm like, yeah, I did. And he's like, well, that's good. Was it loose? And I'm like, well, dude, this is all I've had for the last 3 days is like some beef broth. So what do you think? And my nurse was like, yeah, I hadn't really had anything to build a turd. But yeah, it was every day was a new adventure for sure. But yeah, I don't know, when I told the nurse that he could bring me a gallon of gas and a pack of matches so I could burn the bed, I got out of that bed at 3:00 in the morning and I never got back in it. I just stayed and slept in the chair. And the nurse came in one night and I was sitting in the chair, and the little table, that you eat dinner off of or whatever, I had it pulled in front of me. I had a pillow on it, had my elbows, and I had my head like you're, laying down on a school desk or something. And he comes in and he's like, dude, that can't be comfortable. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. It sucks, but it's way more comfortable than that piece of shit bed. I am not getting back in that thing. And I didn't. I stayed in the chair till I left. Other than getting up, they had me walking around 3 times a day, which was good because, sitting in the chair felt like, I remember one night the nurse came in and she's like, how are you doing? And I said, well, I'm okay. I said, can you look under my chair? And she's like, well, what am I looking for? And I said, the little midgets that are under there nailing nails in my ass.
Was your butt falling asleep?
It was just hurting because I'd been sitting on it for like days. And they got to check you to make sure you don't have any like
sores.
Pressure sores or whatever. And yeah, man, it was quite the journey. But I gotta say, like, overall, there's definitely some times that sucked for sure. But considering they sliced me open, sawed my chest plate pulled my ribs apart, did all this shit, it's like, doesn't really hurt. It's sore. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt, but I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to be like.
And then zapped you.
Yeah, that was fun. I was in there joking around with those guys. They were a hoot. And they're like, the one guy's like asking me what I do for a living, and I'm like, dude, I'm kind of like the jackass of all trades. I play in a band. I make stuff. I sell stuff. I do art. I make jewelry. I do this. I do that. And said anything to make a buck, and
almost.
Yeah. And, we're all just joking around about this and that. And the one guy goes, well, the anesthesiologist goes, well, we're all here. We're all ready. And once again, we're waiting on the doctor. And they're like, what's it going to be? Is it the train this time? Or is it the traffic? They were all.
Oh, like he was late.
Yeah. They're like, what's it going to, they're all taking bets. What's it going to be? The train? The traffic? Yeah. He's finally showed up, you know, got it going underway. They had to zap me 3 times. And, it, you know, I woke up and I was like, they're like, how do you feel? And I'm like, man, that was a good nap. That's the most sleep I've had all like in the last 10 days. They're like, yeah, you were only out for like 20 minutes. We had to zap you 3 times, so it took a little longer. I'm like, damn, you knocked me out for another hour or 2? I'd probably feel better. But yeah, my heart was back in perfect sinus rhythm. Everything was good. Only lasted a couple days though. Got home, woke up, got up, you know, and I weigh myself every morning. I've lost 17 or 18 pounds since I went in. So that's a plus. But yeah, I weigh myself every morning. Then come out, I do my blood sugar, my blood pressure, my blood oxygen, everything. I check it all every day, several times a day. And I'm checking it and I'm like, damn, why is my pulse a 99? It's normally like mid 60s, you know? Like it's 99. I'm like, I got to redo that. And I redid it, you know? Then I went in and got my watch. I got an Apple Watch. I put it on and it's got this ECG thing, you know, that does your heartbeat and everything. And I did it, you know, comes up atrial fibrillation. I'm like, God, fuck, not again. And it's been like that ever since. But starting to get a little more used to it. My heart rate is, it's been like right around 80, 81, 82, which is high for me. But I'm starting to get a little more used to it. And I went and saw the cardiologist yesterday. I had an appointment and she was like, yeah, you know, it's not uncommon. You know, I'm thinking, shit, I'm going to have another heart attack. You know, I was like scared to, you know, they want me to walk every day. And I was like, what if I go walking out in the street and I keel over and have another heart attack? And she's like, nah, chances are you won't. It's pretty normal. It sucks, but you could go back into sinus rhythm any second. You could just go back in. So she said, you know, she's like, they cut you open and they worked on your heart, you know, and they had their hands inside you and you got a bunch of inflammation around your heart, you know, and that's more than likely what's causing the AFib. So once all that inflammation settles down, you'll probably go back into sinus rhythm again. Hopefully that's the case. Being shocked isn't that big a deal, but I'd rather not. But yeah, like right now it's 91. So it's a little higher. They're like, yeah, anything over 110, 120, give us a call. If it's 150, go to the ER. So, yeah, it was quite the adventure, to say the least. And it still continues. I got physical therapy comes by a couple of times a week. I got a home health nurse that comes by. She was here today. It's funny. I've had 3 different ones that came by. There's this one lady. She's like a little bit older lady, real country. She's like from Western Georgia, got a real country accent. She's awesome. She's been my favorite one. The one that came today, she's been here a few times and she's growing on me. I didn't really think I liked her at first, but she's growing on me. And today she comes in and she had another nurse with her that she's like, you mind if I bring somebody else in? I'm training them. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And she comes in and she's like, are you listening to Alice in Chains? And I'm like, damn, she knows who Alice in Chains is. I said, no, actually, I said, that's Aaron Lewis singing a Alice in Chains song. And she's like, who's Aaron Lewis? I said, he's the lead singer for Stain. And she's like, oh, I know them. So I was like, wow.
Just as I'm saying, it's been
Yeah.
a while.
I'm like, wow, I'm impressed you knew who either one of those bands are. She's like, oh, yeah, I listen to all that kind of stuff. I was like, damn, I would have never guessed it. And my physical therapist, he's a trip. He's this big, tall, bald-headed guy. He's from Norway. He's got a real heavy accent. And, you know, he's looking around. I got, you know, like 8 or 10 aquariums in my living room. And he's like looking around, and at the first day he came over, Sam had been over here and she braided my hair in these long pigtails.
Seeing them, they were cute.
And he's looking around my house. He's like, you know, you're the most unique person I've ever worked with. I'm like, yeah, probably so. You mind if I take a picture of you to send my family back in Norway? I'm like, yeah, I don't care, man. And he's looking at all the aquariums, and he's like, I bet you have snakes too. And I'm like, you nailed it. I do. And he was like, oh no, really? How many snakes do you have? I said, I got like 15 or so. He's
That's
like,
cool.
oh, do you? Oh dear, don't show them to me. And today
You really could be the most interesting man in the world.
he saw some guitars and stuff, and he was like, do you play guitar? I said, yeah, I'm in a band. So then he had to look my band up, you know, and listen to me. And then today he calls me because I got an appointment tomorrow. He's like, you know something funny? I'm like, what? I look up your address on the Google. I look you up on the Google, and you know how it shows your house? It shows the street view. I said, yeah. He goes, it shows your house and your street view, and you're standing in your driveway looking at the car. I was like, damn, I didn't know that. It's like, yeah,
Did
you're
you look
standing.
at it? Are you there?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet. I'll pull it up right now and see.
Wow, this guy's really checking you out.
Yeah, yes. He's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, because he might also, you know, that's cool, though. From what you were saying, you sounded really cool.
Yeah, at first I was kind of like a little leery, but yeah, he's totally cool. He's giving me a bunch of exercises. Now, don't you get lazy on me. I want to see you moving.
It's a good thing that you know that you got to keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my doctor came in, you know, like I've been doing this carnivore diet. You know, May 26th made a year that I've been doing this. And yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy?
No.
Yep, I started May 26th last year. And, you know, there's a part of me that's thinking, damn, did this diet cause me to have a heart attack, you know? Like I'm doing
so
good
all the
on
pepper
it.
stuff you were doing.
Yeah, I'm like doing so good on it. And I'm like, I had that thought in my head, you know? It was in the back of my head. And anyway, my surgeon came in, you know, and he was asking me questions and telling me what he did and, you know, the whole 9 yards. And he's like, got any questions for me? And I was like, well, I said, I've been doing this diet. I've been doing a carnivore diet, you know, and I started playing disc golf. So I get, you know, I walk like 2.5 miles every time I play, you know, and I've been, you know, riding my bike, going to the beach, going fishing. I walk like a mile down the beach when I go fishing and all this. And I said, I've been doing this diet pretty hardcore strict, about as strict as you could go for the last year. And, you know, I kind of have some concerns about it. And he's like, hey, he goes, if you hadn't been doing what you're doing, dieting and losing weight and exercising, chances are you would be dead right now, or the very least you'd be on a ventilator struggling to live. He's like, so whatever you've been doing, I can pretty much tell you that it saved your life. So I was kind of relieved with that. He's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because, and when I told him too, I said, I've lost weight. And he's like, how much have you lost altogether? I was like, well, when I started out, I was like 336 at my heaviest point, and I'm 267 now. So that's like 69 pounds. He's like, damn. I said, I got a lot more to go. I'd like to get, in that 175, 190 range. But he's like, yeah, I mean, he flat out said, if I hadn't been doing what I'm doing, chances are they would be picking out a box for me. So I was like, well, glad I'm not doing that. Trying to see if I'm actually on the Google map.
Yeah, because normally except the time I told you me and Jeff were chasing the Google car and we found the spot, but we're bleached out, but we kept going back and forth enough that we were able to get in between images and found us waving at the Google car. But it's weird that they didn't edit you out. Like, he's been to your house. I'm not going to say anything on here.
What's that?
Nothing.
Yeah, I see a picture here, but I can't open it for some reason. Here we go. Yep. There I am standing in the driveway.
No kidding.
Yep. Since my driveway is my workshop at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nothing's working on my computer.
Don't give out like your address or nothing. He's a secret government agent spy.
Every button I'm clicking on, it just opens up a dictionary. What the hell?
So true, Ariana. I need 20 seconds. Or 25.
Yeah, Debbie, that's exactly what he reminded me of when he showed up. This big bald-headed guy. Here to pump you up. But yeah, it was for some reason now I'm locked up too. Awesome. You guys still hear me? I can't type a message or anything. If you can hear me, I'm going to leave the room and I'm going to come back real quick. Maybe, if I can even do that.
Oh, where did Rob go? Did he push something? What did he? Was he fixing something and then it went out? Okay. Here's Teddy Boots. She has the alien eyeballs. Yeah. Boots. Not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Yeah, I kept telling him about everybody and how he has just like this enormous prayer group and or just people praying for him. Lots of angels, lots of people that, and I definitely believe in the power of prayer. Yeah, it could be the secret agent guy. That's why I didn't want to say anything in case, he's watching that. Rob!
My Google completely locked up on me.
I wonder why. Whole tribe.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the diet. I changed a little bit. I ate some green beans the other night, and I've been eating some grapes and a little bit of fruit. But yeah, I'm pretty much, I guess, going to stay on a carnivore diet, but it's going to be more of a, I don't know what it's called.
I think it sounds more realistic if you do it that way because sometimes your body does crave and want certain other things.
Yeah.
And if you just, like you've stripped down to this, and if you slowly just add something back here and there.
Yeah.
And watch what it is. I don't know.
I'm not going to eat them every
your body best.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been making breakfast in the morning, and it's usually a couple of eggs, and I put like a handful of grapes to have. I started eating grapes because the damn hospital would bring me breakfast, and that was the only thing that was like edible was when they would bring me a fruit bowl that had grapes and cut up pineapple and cantaloupe and honeydew. It was like real fruit. A few times they brought me, would you like a fruit bowl? And I'm like, yes, please. And they bring me like a freaking dull fruit cup, peaches cup. And like sugary ass water. And I'm like, this is not fruit, man. The food was just, I filled out a survey, and I answered it, truthfully, and like the care, the cleanliness of the hospital, everything, I gave them like a 9 or a 10 on everything. When it came to food, 1 was the lowest I could score it. And it was all ones. And then the comments, I was like, you guys gotta do better on food. If you're bringing food to a heart patient or a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, like one day they brought me freaking banana pudding, a full-blown sugary ginger ale, not diet, not zero. It's just the regular ginger ale. You know, you look at the back of it, the first thing you see is high fructose corn syrup is the first ingredient. And I hadn't drank that in like years. And I'm like, well, shit, this is all I got. Fuck it, I'm going to drink it. I drink like
I'm surprised that didn't put you in shock.
Well, they come in right after that and they take my blood sugar and it's 196 and they're like, whoa, your blood sugar really spiked. I'm like, no shit. Look what you just gave me to eat. You think that's not going to spike my blood sugar? You gave me a freaking soda and a bowl of banana pudding and whatever the hell this thing is, that one thing that I took a picture of. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Schmegma toast or something. It was just... I remember lifting the lid and looking at it, just going, what in the hell's nation is this?
And why wouldn't they just put the banana pudding on the side? Like, why is it on it? Like, it seriously looked like someone popped a boil on top of your...
That was the pancakes. That was a completely different breakfast. I told him,
oh, you mean the wheat bread, the toast with the onions and the mashed potatoes?
And it wasn't even toast. It was just a big, thick slice of funky bread with mashed potatoes and like flour scramble on top of it.
You could see the fork marks too, where they're like splishing it into the bread.
God, man, what is this? And I took
some sauteed onion.
You know, my appetite was coming back, so I took a couple of bites of it, and I was just like, oh, hell no, I'd just rather starve than eat this. Nope. This doesn't even remotely taste good. And yeah, then I told them, you know, they come in and they take your order, you know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They give you a couple options, you know. And they kept wanting to bring me French toast for breakfast. I'm like, no, I don't eat that. I don't eat pancakes. I don't eat French toast. I don't eat none of that stuff. Just bring me eggs and turkey sausage. So, okay, eggs and turkey sausage. So I open it up and there's freaking pancakes with some kind of slug on top. I couldn't figure out what it was. I tasted it and I'm like, what the hell is it? And I look on the ticket and it's pancakes with lemon pudding and raspberry jam. I'm like, why is that? Who puts pudding?
Oh, that was
pancakes. Who is running this kitchen, man? Yeah, I was just like, lemon pudding's fine. If you put it in a bowl, you don't put it on your freaking pancakes. What the hell? Yeah.
Put that on your Cheerios. It's like Billy Madison, extra sloppy.
Yeah, and one morning they brought me Cheerios for breakfast. You know, I'm like, I don't do carbs. I don't do, you know, so they bring me a bowl of Cheerios. I'm like, geez, seriously? Are you guys just fucking with me on purpose? What is going on here? I ask for eggs, I get Cheerios. I ask for eggs, I get pancakes. I'm like, you bring me French toast, I'm going to throw it at you. Not that I don't like French toast. French toast is great, but, you know.
No. And they can't use egg shortage because isn't it the powder eggs anyway?
Yeah, they weren't real eggs. They were powdered eggs. Same with the mashed potatoes. They weren't real potatoes. They were something that came out of a box, which I don't eat either. But I get it, you know. I mean, 90% of the world eats stuff out of a box and processed and all that. And, you know, they got thousands of people to feed. It's not like they can go to the farmer's market and get fresh vegetables and meat every day. So...
Well, no, but when you have a heart patient and it says specifically they shouldn't have things like instant potatoes, because I looked that up, because of what's in it and blah blah blah. It's like that shouldn't be something you just give like a heart patient.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's hard to have a different dietitian for each person, but there should at least be categories for like the big ones, like the heart patients, the diabetics, the other people that aren't, necessarily have special, diet and the food allergies.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good. That was the that was like the worst part of, after I started feeling better and I started getting my appetite back. Like at first, the food wasn't terrible. I was thinking, man, this isn't bad. It's not what I normally eat, but like they brought me this big meatball, giant meatball with some sauce, and it was on some pasta. So I ate the meatball, left the pasta, and they brought me like Jamaican jerk chicken with rice and beans and stuff, and I'd eat the chicken. I was trying to like eat what I'm kind of used to, and then it just like every meal it just got worse. It was like, okay, he ate that. Here's the next level. Let's see if he eats this.
Or it's like they're trying to get you out faster, but it's not like you have the choice to leave faster. So
Yeah. That's what I was like, at first I was an ICU patient or whatever. And then, once I started getting better, then I got demoted. And my nurse was like, sorry, you're not going to get the A-team nurses anymore. So it's like, I guess the lower grade patient you are, the shittier the food gets. There at the end, I was like, what am I, like living in the basement? Like
what, I'm like chopped liver now?
Yeah, you guys are bringing me shit that you scraped up off the kitchen floor. What's going on?
Or literally scraped the bottom of the pans. That thing was a last minute something they found for you that they just scraped the last of that was probably dinner the night before.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
That was somebody like scrounging for food right quick. That had to be.
Yeah.
Nobody eats
that was the day too that I hadn't had any breakfast that morning. I hadn't had anything since midnight the night before. Not a drink, not breakfast, not nothing. I'd had my cardio version, and I came back and I got back in the room and it was a little after 12, so I'd missed lunch. And the lady came in and she's like, did you enjoy your lunch? And I was like, what lunch? She's like, oh, you didn't get lunch? I'm like, no, it was like 2:00 by then. Like, nope, didn't have lunch. And she's, oh, let me go get you one. And then that's when they brought me freaking mystery meat.
Because what time did they give you dinner?
You usually got breakfast at 8, lunch was at noon, and dinner was at like 5 or 6. 5, I think.
So it was going to be a lot of hours between lunch and you waiting for dinner. So they had to just run. So they're like, let's just find him something, I guess, edible.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is edible, just because like separately each of those things, can be consumed, but together.
Yeah, here it is. Let's see if this works.
Pig balls.
Unable to share screen. Okay, let's try that again. Screen share.
Your pig balls.
Nope, that's not it either. This thing ain't working right. Now I don't know how to stop sharing the screen. still hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, apparently I'm locked up again. Here we go. Cancel. There we go. Unable to share screen. Well, I jammed myself in a corner again. Oh well. I give. It's just making it worse. Okay, let me jump out and try to jump back in.
Yeah, that's pretty the mystery meat. You guys see the new chicken nugget that they grew?
Oh, okay.
Oh, there it is.
Jeez. Guess I'm gonna have to break down and buy the real version of this.
I was wondering, is that why they won't let you share?
Maybe.
They
I
let
don't
you
know.
share other stuff.
Yeah. Weird.
I could have pulled out a singing bowl for you guys.
There it is.
Oh,
Doesn't that look lovely? Here's your dinner, Mr. Autry.
what is that on the top up there? Gravy?
It's like some sort of onions or some sort of, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I wouldn't. I took a bite or two and I was like, nope, I'm done.
It doesn't even look appealing the way they sopped it on there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and, you know, they like heart healthy. So, you know, they bring me butter every morning for my eggs and sausage, which, you know, whatever, but it's not butter, it's margarine. You know, you
oh,
look at
lovely.
like, you know, palm oil and this and that and hydrogenated, blah blah blah. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. And this up here in the corner, this was apple juice.
Okay.
It was apple juice.
Nice sugar-filled apple juice.
Yeah, you think apple juice. It's maybe I'll drink this. I looked at the ingredients, and there's like 60 things in it. I'm like, nope, not gonna eat that. Yeah, it was an event. The food there was just really.
You came home and you cooked it up. Those pictures was like, damn. Everything you make, I always want to try.
Now I don't know how to get back out of the share screen.
Something muggling you in some food. Like cook it in a cake. Here, hide the food inside a cake, like you do a file in jail.
Yeah, it was this day. I'd called Darcy. I was like, dude, bring me some food. Just go to Publix and get me a couple of chicken tenders. Anything. Fucking Slim Jim would be better than this crap they just gave me.
Did she?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep. She brought me a couple of chicken tenders and
he would eat it just because he got charged $400 for it.
Yeah, I know.
Money's worth.
Yeah, I haven't got the
That's
bill yet,
funny.
but I talked to one dude in the grocery store the other day, and he's like, "Yeah, I had what you had done. I was in ICU for 8 days. My bill was $265,000." I was like, "Geez, I was in there for 12 days." It's like, "Yeah, you're probably looking at close to $500,000."
Oh,
Lord. But whatever.
Oh my God. In my head, I came up with like 250. But then I was like the helicopter rides and the...
Oh yeah, I got the full fair event,
You got the whole shebang.
Yep. All right, I'm going to jump out and jump back in again because I can't get rid of this picture of this prehistoric dinner plate on my screen.
And remember, oh wait. It's still up there. If you guys are able to hear me, Debbie Anderson, it looks like this sale is still going on her cards, and I don't know how long that's going to go. That it should be ending any time, but her cards are still on sale right now. I'm going to be ordering my birthday presents in a couple days. I'm getting the cards, and I think I'm going to get a Libyan desert glass. Like it's just a little piece on a bracelet, a silver bracelet, and some angelite polished beads to go with like these bracelets and like a raw stone. And I think that's going to be my birthday presents to myself this year.
There you go. Yeah, Libyan desert glass is awesome.
Because I was also looking at the other two. What are the not Takiti, Tekka, Mekalekaha. what are they called? Like, it's like a T word that is for like Moldavite and Libyan glass and all that. But then they also have these certain rocks.
Yeah. Techite.
Techite, yeah. I was kind of thinking about. Oh, why can't I look it up? How do you spell it? Tekite?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, my insurance picks up the majority of it. I know they're not going to pay for all of it, but
Yeah,
it seems pretty good.
The stone. So I might even get like one of these. So you can get it for like $5. It fits in the palm of your hand, and it's not very pretty or anything.
Oh yeah, those are.
But it's good stuff.
I like that stuff that, it's either stuff that is like flown through space for God knows how many years.
Yeah.
Or it's like a meteorite that landed here and it hit so hard that, turned sand into glass, like living glass.
Yeah, so that's when I thought, I might try to build my collection a little bit, like getting that, again, it's pricey, but it's a pretty decent little piece to have on my wrist with the silver. I still buy little moldavite. I'll get a bigger moldavite one day, and then one of these type, to hold in my hand.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to start building on that collection too, the techites or whatever they are. Free delivery Tuesday, May 6th. That's my birthday.
Hey, there you go.
With items over 35, I can do that. Oh no, the other thing, I don't think she has her cards on Amazon. Yeah, Debbie says it. And then there's Ariana. Yeah, too bad like you didn't know like what percent they're gonna cover, so you kind of have an idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Is what it is.
But it'll be okay because you have your life, and that's just money. We have Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his bill was, but he was just paying like the minimum payment a month, and they called him in, and his doctor was like, "I'm just gonna write my bill off on you. You don't owe me nothing." He was like, "Really? What's the catch?" No catch. So,
When was that?
that was a couple of years ago, but
that is awesome.
Yeah, he owed, I don't know, he owed $100,000 or more, and yeah, they just
like left.
Yeah, they just wrote him off. And it wasn't that he wasn't making payments; he was, but
they probably figured he'd done it so long and stuff, and that or maybe they're having some sort of like a class action something. And
my brother's, 74 now, so at the time, he's like 72 or whatever. They probably figured this guy's going to be paying $25 a month for the rest of his life, and then some, and it still won't be paid off. So, yeah, they just
might as well like close the book.
Yeah. Yeah, I came home with a walker, which God knows what they charge me insurance for that. And I used it, used it the first few days. It's folded up. I haven't needed to use it since. I'm still, like, I can walk around. I went to Home Depot today and walked around. I still can't lift anything more than a gallon of milk or half a gallon of milk. And, like it
But like,
humbles you severely. Like the first day I came home, I'm wearing these. I'm used to wearing um, compression socks, anyways, like knee high. Because like when I play disc golf, whatever, I usually wear them, so I'm used to it. But I was wearing these white, like tight hose things, because my legs were all swollen up because one of them's cut up. I've been pumped full of fluids the whole time, so my legs look like freaking elephant legs. So I'm wearing these things, and first day I came home, Darcy dropped me off here, got me settled, and she ran up to the grocery store, which is only like a mile away. And I was like, I'm going to take these socks off. That shit, like, that killed me. I got one of them halfway down. And, like, if you've ever worn compression socks, they fit really tight. And these things from the hospital were even tighter. So I got it halfway down, and I'm like, shit, I can't stop here because it's going to cut my circulation off. So I got the first thing I ordered in the hospital was one of those grabber tools, like the extended arm, like my phone, I'm going to drop the remote, whatever. So I got the damn grabber thing on my socks, and I got this long shoehorn. I'm trying to like shove the sock down my leg. It's hurting like hell. It took me like 15 minutes to get one sock off. And by the time I finally got it off, I was like, thought I was going to die all over again. So like, I'm just going to leave the other one on until she gets here. Like, I found out real quickly that the first day I got home that, Rob, you can't do shit, nothing. You're lucky to be walking around. Don't lift nothing. Don't push nothing. Don't pull nothing. Damn sure don't try.
listen to your body when it hurts. That means stop for real.
Yeah.
Not just keep pushing through on something like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I was to the point where I was in the kitchen when I finally got it off. My next move, I was going to go to the drawer and get a fillet knife, cut it off. Like, okay, I got to be careful not to cut my leg because I'm on blood thinner, so I'll bleed to death.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Walker, like I was telling you when I had my foot thing, so I have to step up over a bathtub to like get in and out. I like to have it like pushed up against the bathtub shower thing, like when I would get in or out, because if I started feeling weird or like having to step over the thing, I would just have the walker there to be able to kind of hold on to as I got both my legs out and then just push them aside.
Yep. Yeah. The first thing I ordered, like I said, was that grabber arm. And I ordered a pair of handles that I could put in the shower because I have a step over tub shower
that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
I hate it, and I'm gonna rip it out and redo it, but not this week.
Saying, yeah, have that walker in there when you go.
Yeah, so I ordered these handles. They're these big suction cup things, and I'm like, yeah, are they gonna really work? I'm reading the reviews, and everybody's like, yeah, once you get them in the right place, they work good. They won't come loose. So, we cleaned the shower with alcohol and stuck them on there. Put one on this side, so I could, I knew I didn't want to put all my weight on it, but just, to grab to steady myself so I don't slip right. Because I have busted my ass in the shower before, and it ain't fun.
When you don't want to bust and pop your chest open.
Yeah, have alien scene.
Oh, Jesus.
And so I get in the shower, my first shower, and I'm standing there, I'm moving slow, I'm trying to like soap up, and I look up at one of the handles that's in front of me, and it just goes whoosh, clank, and it just falls off the wall and hits the floor, hits the shower floor, and I'm like, well, I just lost zero trust in these things.
Yeah.
Like, glad it decided to fall off when I wasn't even touching it.
Keep the walker around. Even if you have it in the tub with you, if you can fit it in there, just so you have handles to grab and then like clink it over and then you step your leg over and step your leg over. It took me a long time before I felt safe enough to step over that thing.
Yeah.
Um, until then I could put my boot cast back on. Because I was so scared of like not lifting my leg high enough and just eating crap.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh
I'm,
yeah, he probably could get a shower chair.
yeah. I'm good now. I'm to the point where I can get
Yeah.
out of the shower. And we moved the handles to a different place and they haven't come off since. I still have no trust in them, but they're
Is it
sturdy.
like the 3M like adhesive?
It's, yeah, I wish it was adhesive, but it's not. It's just this big suction cup and it's got a lever that like really,
Oh, like the yeah.
but yeah. When I redo my shower, I'm just going to put a couple handles in there that are like, bolted into the wall because they get,
Hmm. Like they have like the side one, like the ones they have in the
yeah.
hotels and stuff, like the long.
Oh yeah, I already got bruises going. Like it was way worse. But yeah, my arms are all bruised up. Chest is like looks like somebody beat the shit out of me with a baseball bat. I got bruises all over me. And where they put the paddles on me when they shocked me, there's paddle marks on my chest and on my back. I look like I've been in a train wreck.
Yeah, I was reading that it said it might irritate that part of your skin.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst thing is whatever is under my shoulder blade. That's the only thing that really hurts. Like my chest and my incision and where they wired me back together and all that. It's sore, but it's not a big deal. Like I've only taken one pain pill since I've been home.
Is there an artery that runs underneath that way?
I have no idea. But, it's still a little swollen and I was bleeding like I don't have stitches or staples or anything. I'm just glued back together. Fucking super glued me back together. And but it was like bleeding for like it just still does a little bit, but it just really stopped yesterday. I was still like leaking. I was doing my physical therapy and my therapist was like, "Oh, are you okay? Look, you got blood all over your shirt." I was like, "Oh shit! Guess I'm bleeding. Bummer."
I'm overdoing it too much at the moment.
But yeah, finally it stopped for the most part. Still a little bit, but yeah, it was every day is a new adventure.
Every time you rip it, it has to keep trying to glue back together. That's how like I do my cuts with like duct tape. Similar.
Yeah.
I'd like just duct tape and like hold it together like glue until the skin. And every time you rip it, it's got to go back together. So the longer you just let it mend itself back, once it has a good enough like secure seal, you don't have to worry as bad.
Damn, Debbie, that's fucking kind of a nightmare. Yeah, I busted my ass in the shower, knocked myself out. I was lucky I didn't screw something up. Lucky I didn't knock myself out or break something.
The water in the face is probably what made you wake up.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I showed my nurse, she's like, "Oh, you got some bruising, all around your incision and everything." I'm like, "Yeah, I do." She's like, "Yeah, you're on those blood thinners." So the one nurse was like, "You're going to be on those for the rest of your life." I'm like, "Oh, hell no, I'm not." And I said, "They told me I'd only have to be on them for a couple of months, She's like, "Well, I don't know. You might be on them for the rest of your life." I know I'm on metoprolol. I'm on that for the rest of my life, supposedly. I take a freaking handful of pills. I just got off of damn near all my pills that I was taking, and now I got a whole handful of new ones. Stuff to control my heart, stuff to keep my heart somewhat beating normally. Blood thinner. I'm on some statin, something. I'm on Jardiance for blood sugar and all that because they jam so many fluids and everything else in my body that it was wreaking havoc on my whole system.
But what is the thinners like really for? Is it just so like it's easier to go through the heart, or
yeah, like right now, since
because that shit scares me.
I have AFib, when you have AFib, you have a chance like your upper heart isn't beaten enough to squeeze all the blood to your lower lobe. So there's a chance that it could form a blood clot in there. And the blood thinner helps with that, and just getting your blood moving through all these other arteries that they repaired with the veins out of my leg and stuff. So I'm sure there's some inflammation in all those, being
okay.
So
quick question. Because my dad had a different thing, and what was wrong with him was that his blood wouldn't clot anymore. Like if he cut, he could like bleed forever.
Yeah.
So like if you're on the blood thinner so things don't clot, like what happens if you do get cut?
Oh, it sucks.
Like it'll still eventually scab up and like stop, or is it going to be like that where you have to be extra careful?
Yeah, I got to be really careful. Like, before I was looking for a picture when I screwed my arm up when I fell and landed on my arm, and I looked like one of the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Had this big hematoma on my arm, and my arm looked like it had been through a meat grinder. Every color of black and blue and yellow and purple and gray and green and everything. But yeah, I'm always working with power tools. When I play disc golf, I'm in like the thorn bushes, and one day I was playing disc golf and I went to get my disc and thorns hit my leg, and I'm like feeling blood running down my leg, filling my shoe up. Like, damn it. That's when I went and got it.
So you would have to like take out the duct tape or the medical tape and paper towels and like wrap that tight around your leg now, right? And like,
yeah, I just went and got a first kit that I carry with me in my anytime I go out in the kayak, or if I'm playing disc golf, I got a first aid kit with me that's got
right on. Shit in there. I figured you probably would, but
I got a pack of Stop Bleed. Haven't had to use it, but it's there just in case.
Good. Style changes, huh?
Yeah, but hopefully, my surgeon and everybody said, yeah, you'll be able to come off a bunch of these drugs, after 30 or 60 days. So
once the inflammation and all that's down.
Yeah. They said it's going to take 6 weeks for my bones to mend back together and all that. And overall, it's like 3 months, 2 to 3 months. Everybody's different, 2 to 3 months before I'm like back 100%.
Like the bones could even be like 8 months, but because you're a fast healer, you'll probably be on the closer, probably like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
Or soon.
Yeah, that's where I was at, Debbie. I was just taking a blood pressure pill, and some days I wouldn't even take that because my blood pressure was so low. I didn't want to take a blood pressure pill. I didn't want it to like bottom out, you know. So I was getting close to being able to quit those as well. And yeah, well, then all this happened, and now I got a whole new set of pills to get off of. And I went, I went. Well, I didn't go anywhere. The doctor came to me, and my my cardio rehab guy came in, and they want me to do 12 weeks of cardio rehab. And he's like, the majority of it is, doing exercises and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I got no problem with it. And he's like, then the other part is your diet. And I'm going to really try to get you on an all plant based diet, all low fat, and I'm like, okay, dude, this is where we're going to butt heads.
Mhm.
So that is not what I've been doing for the last year. That's not what's been working for me. I've tried it. Doesn't work for me. I was miserable. What I'm doing right now has worked for me. My surgeon said it probably saved my life. So I'm going to go with that. Wow, you need to really you need to really lose weight. I'm like, dude, I've lost 69 pounds over the last 2 years. I fucking think I'm doing okay. Not as fast as I wanted, but, you know. Oh, I didn't know you've lost weight. I'm like, yeah. Man, I look at myself and I'm still like, damn, I'm fat as hell. But then I look at myself from, a year, 2 years ago, and I'm like, Jesus. Like an Omar the tent maker.
I see a lot of loss, like in your face. See it. God, and wasn't it like right before that, man? Like a week or something before that, I was telling you like how like alive and healthy you looked to me. Like your face had this like pinkish kind of like, and I thought maybe it was like the diet. I'm like, damn, you look like younger. You've got like this healthy glow. Your skin has like a good color to it.
And then it all went downhill.
And then you just, yeah, had to go scare the hell out of all of us.
Yep. Hey, keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
I asked my doctor. I was like, hey, I got concerns that this diet that I'm doing. I said it's working. I'm losing weight. I've been feeling great up until just the last couple of weeks, but I'm like, what's your opinion? Is this the cause of me having a heart attack? And he's like, no. He goes, dude, your heart was messed up. He's like, you had a 5 bypass, whatever he called it, but 5x bypass. And he's like, that didn't happen overnight. That didn't happen in the last 10 months you've been dieting or whatever. He's like, you look at your family history. Your dad died of a heart attack. Your brothers had a heart attack. Your mom's had heart issues on
Oh
her.
shit.
He's like, it's just in your genes. It sucks, but it's just in your genes, and it's something that has been going on a long time. It didn't just happen in the last year or so, So, I mean, at least that made me feel better. And he said again, he's like, I don't know everything about your diet and all, but I can tell you that if you hadn't have been working on it, if you were still, the weight you were 2 years ago, you would be dead. Chances are you would be dead. If you weren't dead, you'd be on a ventilator trying to not die.
See, something new. You just knew deep down you had to make changes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I started this whole thing, I was like, I just looked in the mirror and I was like, who the hell is that guy? It's not me. Like, I'm either going to die or I'm going to change, one or the other. And I picked changing.
Yeah, because you've got your wife and Nora, us.
Yeah. Yeah, like Sam told me, Nora's other granddad, Dewey is his name. He had a heart attack and just hit the floor and died. Like no emergency room. No, he just had a heart like my dad, pretty much. Just had a heart attack and died.
Stop.
And you know, she was like, that was her other papa. I'm her pop, you know. And Sam was explaining to her, you know, what happened to me, and told her I wouldn't be over, you know, the next Friday to pick her up, and I was in the hospital, and she was like, "Is Pop gonna leave me like Papa Dewey did?"
Oh,
Said it was like heartbreaking. I'm like,
I
yeah,
know Sam was getting her like the extra, because I remember she had other like doctor stuff that I think she was playing with you or like a teddy bear or something before.
yeah,
But she wanted to get her more doctor stuff because she wanted to take care of
yep,
you. When she saw the Easter bunny, brought her that kit, you know, she's like, veterinary. Oh, Easter bunny. Like, you Easter bunny, you just knew what to get. She
yeah,
was so excited flipping that box around.
yeah. It's funny. They were over here yesterday, and Sam's been coming over in the afternoons, like when Darcy's at work, and Nora's still like, she'll hang out with me and talk, and we play and watch cartoons and all that. But when it comes time to leave, she won't hug me.
Because she knows, because she wants to be careful.
Yeah, she ran in the kitchen yesterday and was hiding behind the counter.
Oh, baby.
Sam's like, "What's wrong? Why don't you want to give Papa a hug?" I don't want to hug him.
Oh.
I'm like, "Don't worry, kid. You ain't gonna break me." All the
You
shit I've been.
gotta tell her it's okay. You just be gentle, but you can give me a hug.
Yeah, she'll come around.
Yeah. Especially after just losing somebody else.
Yeah.
She probably wants to like be, because she's a smart child.
Yeah.
She's a very aware, smart child.
She's got a new tooth coming in, you know, so she's losing her first like baby tooth or whatever. And I gave Sam a silver dollar. I said, "Here, put this under her pillow."
Right.
She loses her tooth, tell her the fairy brought it or something.
Is it her birth year or just a regular silver dollar?
Yeah, it's just a regular one.
That's awesome, though. I love that. That's way better than like a paper money or something under the bed.
Yeah.
Or coins under the bed.
Yeah.
Kids get paper money. It makes me laugh. Like, we didn't have paper money. We had tooth fairy pillows that had the little heart where the tooth went and enough room to put like maybe in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was stoked. It was 50 cents. I'm like, whoa.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah, Debbie, I scared the shit out of myself too. It's a weird feeling when the doctor comes in and says, "You're having a heart attack right now." I'm like, "Are you serious?" Whoa. The level of serious just leveled up like 10 levels. That's what the weird thing was, you know, every movie, every show, every time you see somebody have a heart attack, they're like, you know, it's none of that.
especially like all the ones, you know, recently, you know, the ones happening where it seems like every person is just like falling down, and then like the left leg will start to like jump and like they're like out of it.
Yeah.
Only you, Rob, I swear.
That's what my aunt and my cousin were like. Only you would be having a heart attack and still posting pictures. Like, hey, what else have I got to do?
Everything. Conversing with your buddy on the stretcher and reminiscing, and
Yeah,
that's why you're awesome.
definitely living on the blessed side for sure.
You definitely, and all of it just shows it's like a tribute to what a genuine, good person, authentic person you really are. All of it.
Mm. Well, I definitely appreciate everybody's awesome, kind words and all that. I was sitting in the hospital, once I finally started looking at Facebook where I could comprehend what I was looking at. I was like, holy shit, man. A lot of comments on here. I'd go through like 2 or 3 or 4 at a time and I have to take a break. I'd go through like 4 or 5 more. But it was awesome. Definitely spend the time in hospital prison.
Reading the good things. I was like, it's almost like, when people get to, when they say, "Oh, I wish I could hear what people would say at my funeral," and it's like you're supposed to say what you think, like while people are around, and not wait till they're gone. But it's like the outpouring of care and compassion and love and everything people have for you from all different areas of your life that you're seeing was just like really beautiful to see, and it's just a tribute to the type of person that you really are.
I gotta say though, there was a couple of times where I was like, am I dead and I just don't know I'm dead? Am I living?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense, But then I'm like, well, no, Darcy can see me, but am I imagining this? I was like all kinds of weird shit going through my head. Like, what if I did die and I just don't know I died? This is weird, man. Like pinching myself. Yeah, that hurts. But yeah, the pain, like the bed I was in. I'm like, that's genuine pain. That makes me know I'm alive. I think if I was dead, I wouldn't have pain. So.
Good night, Debbie. Yep. Bless Beltane tomorrow, and happy May Day.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd hang out this long, but yeah, it's after 2 a.m. So I guess this has been the heart attack show. Just talking about my. Yeah.
It's a hangout.
But yeah, I guess we'll be back next week for more of a normal show, hopefully. My nurse said today, she was like, yeah, walk a little further each day. She's like, this time next week, you're going to be walking down to the end of your road to the stop sign and back, right? And I'm like, yep. I could probably do that now, but don't want to push it.
You're still getting the mail every day, right?
Yeah, I walk out to get the mail, and I'm still trying to walk a few times a day. Yesterday I didn't walk a whole lot because I was kind of Mr. Sluggo. But yeah, today, like I said, I went to Home Depot today and walked around in the garden center and got some stuff, put it in the cart, pushed the cart around. The other day I went to the grocery store and to Home Depot. May have overdid it a little bit. But, they want me walking a mile a day, so.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And I was, with the AFib, I was a little freaked out, but she was like, screw it. Just keep walking. She's like, the more you exercise, the stronger you're going to get. And the stronger you get, the more chance of you coming out of AFib.
The doctors or the physical therapist or doctor said that?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I got physical therapy tomorrow at 1:00. It's cool. They come to my house, so I don't even got to go anywhere. God knows how much that's going to cost too. I'm sure like $10, but it is what it is.
What's important is we have you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to be here. Take things for granted, you know. And shit can change in a heartbeat, literally. Yep. Just
Got to focus on the moments because that's what matters. That's all we have is right here, right now.
yep. Yeah, I mean it's all cliche and you know, blah blah blah, and you hear it 100 times. But when something like this happens to you, it's like, damn. I've heard it before, but every day afterwards is really a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you appreciate life a little bit more when you're like dangling on the edge of the cliff.
Because you got no guarantees.
No, not at all. But
Or
yeah,
an expiration date barcode on your foot.
yeah, it was weird. Like 2 weeks ago, I picked Sam and Nora up, and Sam was acting all weird. And she's like, I had a horrible dream. And I'm like, what'd you dream this time? She has these bizarre dreams, you know, like you couldn't even make up some of her dreams. But she's like, I had a dream you had a heart attack. And I'm like, don't be dreaming that shit. And just yesterday, she was like, remember a couple of weeks ago? I told you I had a dream. You had a heart attack. She's like, I didn't expect you to like pull it off. I'm like, yeah, me neither. Like, don't be dreaming that anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I did it. I got that T-shirt and I moved on.
Been there, done that, got the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Dream I win the lottery. That'd be a good one.
Well, we're very happy that you're back up and doing, and we're able to do this like nothing. You just completely did 2 hours like nothing.
Yeah.
And you sound good. You look good.
Overall, you know, considering I feel pretty good. I'm pretty lucky. Hadn't been gobbling pain pills. I've only taken 2 since I've been home. So yeah, I feel pretty good. I started watching open heart surgery on YouTube, and I watched it when my brother had it done, and I was like, holy shit, man, what the? Started watching one today because that was several years back. That was like 10 years ago. Started watching one today, and I was like, nope. I got to the point where they cut the dude open, and then they had the bone saw, and they're like, Mree. I'm like, nope, I ain't ready for this yet.
Yeah.
I gotta wait a few more weeks for this one. Yeah.
I'm telling you, nobody would know if they didn't know right now that what you've just gone through.
Yeah.
And what you're going through.
I don't recommend it.
Oh, it's 11:11.
There you go.
Oh, it just changed 11:12. Anyways, still make your wish.
Yep. Yeah, if anybody's got any kind of issues, man, get them checked out. Stay ahead of the game. You don't want to be playing catch up like me because it sucks.
Preventative.
Yep. You know, and like the whole time, I mean, there were times where, you know, since I had that ablation done a couple of years ago, like, yeah, you know, you always wonder, you know, like, yeah, I should probably go get a full cardiac workup. And then you're like, yeah, but I got to do this today. I got to work. I got to do this. None of that shit's important after you've been through something like this. It's like you wish you would have just said, you know, whatever, work can wait.
Or mowing the lawn or whatever it was that you were.
Have an excuse. There's always an excuse.
Always an excuse not to go.
Yep. But anyways, I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate everybody's awesome words and well wishes and everything else. Love you guys immensely. And I guess we're
love you.
Check out of here. And I'll be back. Can't leave it at checking out. Try to come on Jason's show for a little bit Sunday, and then I suppose we'll be back next Wednesday for a weirder Wednesday. Catch up later.